Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Cody's Footy World, and welcome back to another NRL tipping video, round 27, 2025. It is currently just after 4:30 p.m. here on the 3rd of September, 2025. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the final round of the regular season, 2025, round 27. Wow. Can't believe that this season has gone very quick, and here we are. 8 teams battling it for finals. There are 3 teams still fighting over that 8th position. 2 teams are fighting for the wooden spoon, and we are looking to see which team will finish in each of the positions coming up in this round. But before we get into the tipping video, guys, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to like the stream. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and don't forget to click that notification bell so you don't miss out whenever a video gets posted or when I go live on YouTube. But, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, the final round. It's gone so quick, and then next week, we're off into the final. So, it's been a roller coaster year for a lot of teams, but unfortunately, only 8 teams will move on, and 9 teams will head off to Bali right away. But anyways, guys, without further ado, let's get into the final regular season tips and the final 8-game format tips as well, because next week will be completely different. We'll just be doing the finals only. But anyways, let's go through the team list. And before we go through the tips as well, I would love to acknowledge the live chat as well. It has actually been a long time since I've actually acknowledged you guys. I do apologize for not acknowledging for each of the videos. So, g'day to Jason. Make the best team win, Gay. Yep, bring on Friday night, brother. Hello to Joshua. Bring it on. Yep, amazing. We got Cameron Murray back this week. We'll get through the team list there first, bro. But yep, it's great to see him back. Hello to Will. I am going to the Broncos Storm game this Thursday night at Suncorp Stadium. No worries. Good luck to your Melbourne Storm. After last week, you might want to make a statement. And looking at the team list, Melbourne have gone with a better team list this time compared to last week. But anyways, guys, without further ado, let's get into the tips. And our first game is a blockbuster Thursday night encounter. These two are only clashed back in round 23 a few weeks ago. From Suncorp Stadium, we have the Brisbane Broncos against the Melbourne Storm, kicking off at 7:50 p.m. Last week, the Broncos winning against their arch rivals, Queensland neighbour, or North Queensland neighbour, the Cowboys, winning 38-30 in a high-scoring game. And as for Melbourne, rested up to 6 players, and they were thumped 40-0. They led 10-0 at halftime, and all of a sudden, Roosters come out flying in that second half, and they conceded 40 unanswered points. I don't know that I don't remember the last time Melbourne conceded so many points in one half. My goodness, had to be such a long time, at least a decade or so ago. But gee whiz, Melbourne, that was astonishing last week. But let's go through the team list for both teams, shall we? So let's go Broncos first. So Jesse Arthur's been recalled to the wing. Dean Mariner pushes to the centres, and Shubaski drops to the reserves. Brendan P. Cora's been named to start in the back row with Jane Hunt on the bench in a straight swap from last week. And as for Melbourne, Jerome Hughes returns from his shoulder injury, while Xavier Coates, Eli Katoa, Nick Meaney, and Josh King all return after being rested last week. Tuvi Kavakamifa returns from concussion on the bench, while Jack Howard is listed in the reserves as he closes in from a groin injury. Stefano Ukamani has been rested while back row Sean Bloor has suffered a fractured lake ridge, which sees Lasita comes into the starting side in the second row. Sorry for butchering that last name. Some of these players are a bit of hard to pronounce now. This game is going to be big for both teams. Brisbane are looking to finally close that 4th spot and finish in the top 4 like they did in 2023. And Melbourne are looking to win. They will secure 2nd place regardless. And the Storm and the Bulldogs will play each other for first week of finals down in Melbourne, regardless of if the Dogs win or not. But this is going to be a big game, and we know Melbourne's history, Melbourne's record against the Broncos, and I'm going to stick with it. I reckon Melbourne are going to win this one. Melbourne to win 1-12 by 8. We will go a 28-20 scoreline. First try scorer goes to Brisbane. Let's go Jesse Arthurs to score first. And for anytime try scorers for Melbourne, we will go Ryan Paffenhauser. And for Broncos, we will go, let's go a bold one. Let's go Ben Hunt for this one. So Melbourne to win the first game, 1-12. Now we move into our two Friday night games, kicking off from 6 p.m. at 4 Pines Park. We have the Manly Sea Eagles against the New Zealand Warriors. Now, last week, the Warriors falling short to the Eels 26-22 at home. They're at Mount Smart last week and 4-6 position as a result. And that's for Manly winning a high-scoring affair against the Dragons at Jubilee Stadium last week, winning 40 points to 24, still having a small chance of potentially making the top 8. Now, for Manly to make the 8, they need both the Roosters and the Dolphins to lose their respective games. If not, even if Manly win and Roosters or Dolphins or one of them just win, they will not make the 8 if one of those two teams win. So Manly have to cheer on the Rabbitohs and the Raiders for that to happen. And as for Dragons, well, they are in the bottom 4. Not Dragons, not up to them yet. As for Warriors, they win this one, they could make their ways back into the top 4. If not, they get a home final against either Penrith or the Roosters, depending on results for this week. But let's go for the team list for both teams. So for Manly, the loss of Tolkolu brings Clayton Falongo into the starting side at centre, while Joey Walsh gets his first taste of NRL actually coming off the bench. Aaron Schropp moves to 18th man. Just the one change for the Warriors. Steve Healy taking over at hooker with Wayne Egan. Yeah, the Warriors need Broncos to lose to the Storm on Thursday. Any chance to make the top 4? Yep. Yes, we know that. But this is going to be an interesting game to watch. But for this one, I'm going to back Manly to win this one. I'll go Manly to win by 6. We'll go scoreline 20 points to 14. First try scorer, we'll go Jason Saab. Anytime try scorers, we will go Lehigh Hopewade, and we'll also go Daniel Watenia-Lesiak score for the Warriors. So unfortunately, I think the Warriors will not finish in the top 4 this year, but they'll have a home final at least. So Manly to win 1-12. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the big one with you guys have been waiting for. The biggest rivalry, the oldest rivalry, and the most fierce and competitive rivalry in the NRL right now. The Sydney Derby, next door neighbours across Sydney. It is from 8 o'clock kickoff from Allianz Stadium. It is the Sydney Roosters, the Sydney Scumbags, against my boys, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now, before we get into the changes and team list for the teams, just go a little bit over a few history moments here. So, this will be the 235th game between the Rabbitohs and the Roosters. The Rabbitohs have won 121, Roosters 108, and there have been 5 draws thrown in there as well. These two will clash it out for the final time this week. The Rabbitohs, we're not playing for anything, but we're avoiding a bottom 4 spot. If we win, we will avoid the bottom 4. And as for the Roosters, if they are fighting to keep their spot in the top 8. If they win, they will be the last team to make the top 8 and be finalised. If not, Manly and Dolphins will have a chance to take over them should both or one of them win. Now, let's go through last week for both teams. Now, the Roosters last week, to majority of everyone's surprise, Roosters won 40-10 against Melbourne. They were down 10-0 at halftime, and Roosters coming out the second half scoring 40 unanswered points in Melbourne as well. Holy shit, that was very unexpected showing, and that was good showing from them. And as for my boys, well, we're coming off our third and final bye. last week and the week before. Our biggest win of the season, Thursday night against the Dragons at a core stadium. We won 40-0 against the Dragons. Best game I've attended this year, and what a effort was from the boys. And that was very unexpected. And the Roosters scored 40 points in that last game. So this is going to be a very intriguing and fierce game to watch and be a part of as well. And of course, I'm going to be there for the final game and the final vlog of 2025 as well. So anyways, let's go for the team list for both teams, starting with the Roosters first. So Sam Walker returns from concussion protocol, so Sandon Smith drops out to the reserves. And the only change that beat the Storm. A win will wrap up a spot in the top 8. But if the Roosters lose, it opens the door for the Dolphins. And for the Rabbitohs, we've got quite a few changes here. Cameron Murray is back in the squad for the first time and only time this year, back from that horrible Achilles injury he suffered during the pre-season challenge earlier this year. Very unfortunate Murray did not play at all for this year, but thankfully he's playing this year and he's starting on the bench, which that would honestly be good because in place of Murray's place, Arrow, Lockie Abner, Tallis as well, they've all been amazing to cover his spot despite a terrible year from the team. He ruptured his Achilles during the preseason. Yep, know that. Jack Whiten is back from suspension as well. He had a 4-game suspension back from the Central Coast game. Terrell is unfortunately out for the rest of the season with a back injury still. Tallis Duncan moves to the back row. Jacob Host onto the bench alongside Cody Walker, Murray, and Brendan Smith. Now, I know, of course, Brendan Smith has been in the headlines for obviously what has happened. Honestly, this shit doesn't really matter for this game. It's what happens off the footy, and we're just going to focus on Smith playing this game. Anything that happens in personal life, I'm not going to reflect. Obviously, what's happened is none of my business, but we'll keep it at that. Obviously, who am I going to tip? It's going to be obvious. Rabbitohs 13 plus, baby. We won 13 plus against Dragons. I reckon we could do it. But in all seriousness, I think we'll go on the win 1-12. I doubt seeing us winning 13 plus is going to be happening. But Rabbitohs to win by 10. And just like 20 years ago, back in 2005, we beat the Roosters 17-16. And they didn't make the finals that year. So 20 years later, that would be amazing to reflect on and witness to happen again. So Rabbitohs to win by 8. 26-18 scoreline. First try scorer, we're going to go AJ. Anytime try scorers, Daniel Supo, and we'll also go Tyrone Munro. And will AJ go over and score that try scoring record? Unfortunately, no. I don't think he will get the record this year, but it will still be amazing if he does, though. I'm not saying he will get it, but I don't think he will. At least if he gets the double, he will tie the record and will open up round 1 next year to break that amazing record. Anyways, Rabbitohs to win 1-12. Bring on Friday night, and of course, and if you're going, be there. Biggest rivalry in the league. Let's fucking go. Anyways, we move on to the rest of the tips now. First game kicking off on Super Saturday for 3 p.m. at Wynn Stadium. We have the St George Illawarra Dragons against the Penrith Panthers from Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. Now, last week, Panthers rested 16 players and lost 28 points to 4 against the Bulldogs last Thursday night. Great effort, Penrith. Honestly, great effort. And as for the Dragons, losing to the Sea Eagles, losing 40 points to 24 at Jubilee Stadium last weekend there as well, in their final game at Jubilee Stadium. Now let's go for the team list for both teams. So for the Dragons, they've gone with the same 17 that lost to the Sea Eagles. Michael Milo has been listed in the reserves as he returns to the field, but Hamish Stewart and Moses Sully will turn their attention to the 2026 season. And as for the Panthers, Ivan Cleary backs the majority of his stars after being rested last week. Brian Toto and Liam Martin will be given another week after a huge workload in 25. Paul Olamoney holds his place on the wing, while Matt Heisenhuth remains on 17 after captaining last week. Now I can say this with confidence. Penrith, do us a favour. Penrith to win 1-12. We will go to Panthers to win by 12. Scoreline of 30-18. First try scorer from the Panthers. We will go Dylan Edwards, and anytime try scorers Christian Tupolotu, and we'll also go Paul Olamonte to score. So Penrith to win 1-12. Now we move into our second Super Saturday game, and this game has implications for the Wooden Spoon. From Seabus Super Stadium on the Gold Coast, we have the Gold Coast Titans against the West Tigers. Now, last week, the Tigers falling short to the Raiders, losing 24-10 down there in Canberra. That's for Gold Coast. In a high-scoring game, down 18-0, and they managed to catch back up at 18-0 at halftime, losing short to the Dolphins 36-30 in a high-scoring game. Titans are in last at the moment, but should they win this game, they could avoid the Wooden Spoon, depending on if the Knights win or lose. But we'll get to them very shortly. Anyways, let's go through the team list for both teams. For the Titans, former Wallaby Carter Gordon and teenager Cooper Boy will make their NRL debuts in Des Hasler's final game as Titans coach. Gordon comes into the centres, place of Jojo Fafita, and Keanu Kini at fullback, AJ Brimson in the centres, and Philip Sami onto the wing after missing out last week with a groin injury. Jaden de Groot and Tony Francis drop out. Thank fuck, Jaden de Groot has been terrible. That's for the Tigers. Unfortunately, Gerald Skelton is replaced by 18-year-old debutant Hamishi Makasini, while Alex Safar's return from suspension pushes Charlie Murray to the reserves. Yeah, Gerald Skelton, a very nasty concussion last week. Onto one of Raiders' halves. All the best to win. That was really nasty to watch. For this game, this one's a flip of a coin game. Really, Titans, if they win this, they can avoid the spoon if the Knights lose. And as for the Tigers, if they win, they will finish at 11th, but they could fall down to as far as 15th, I believe it is, and finish in the bottom four. But I don't think that will happen. However, for this game, the Tigers won by 1 point last time they played. I'm going to back the Titans in this one. I reckon Titans have been very good over the last few weeks and been unfortunate they have not been able to win the game. So for this one, I'll go the Titans to win 1-12. Go to Titans to win by 8. Scoreline of 20-12. First try scorer will go Keanu Kini. Anytime try scorers will go Philip Sami. It will also go Taylor May for the Tigers. So Titans to win and hopefully to avoid that wooden spoon. Otherwise, they'll claim the third wooden spoon in history. Titans to win 1-12. Now we move into our final Super Saturday game from a core stadium, kicking off at 7:35. We have the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs against the Cronulla Sharks in a top 8 affair, and this game has all implications for the Sharks as well. Now, last week, the Bulldogs putting out a massive win over a C-string Panthers New South Wales Cup side, Penrith side, winning 28-4. Even though it was a good win for Bulldogs, they weren't really impressive. And as for the Sharks, down 10-0 against the Knights, and then coming back to win 40-16 in their final home game against the Knights, winning 40-16. Now, the Dogs have solidified a top 4 spot and will finish third regardless. They will play Melbourne in the first week. And as for the Sharks, if the Warriors and Broncos lose both of their respective games, the Sharks will finish in 4th spot if they win. If not, they will claim a home finals regardless of where they finish. Now let's go through the team list for both teams. For the Bulldogs, Jacob Carrazza sideline with an ankle injury, so Alan Taula gets the nod on the wing. Biami Kickout is also back on deck after infection, so Josh Kahn reverts to the bench and Daniel Saluga Fafita drops out. And for the Sharks, Jesse Ramian returns after 2 games out with thumb injury, and Maria Hawaii makes way. Brayden Trindle's been named to play despite leaving the field with an ankle injury. Oregon Kafusi is listed in the reserves as he looks to return from a calf injury. This one is going to be a flip for coin game as well. Now, these two did clash at the start of the year as well, and Bulldogs shockingly won 20 points to 6 at Sharks Stadium, I believe the score was. So, this is going to be an interesting and fun game to watch. But for this one's going to be tough to watch. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to back the Sharks in this one. It's a bit of out of the park here, but I'm going to back the Sharks in this one to win. Sharks to win by 6. Scoreline 24-18. First try scorer goes to the Dogs. We'll go Bronson Sherry to score first. Anytime try scorers Con Tracy and William Kennedy. So Sharks to just win this one, 1-12. Now we move into our Sunday ticket games. The penultimate game of the regular season from 2 p.m. at KO Stadium for only the second time this year. We have the Dolphins taking on the Raiders. Now, last week, the Dolphins finally getting a win after 3 consecutive losses, I believe it is, winning 36-30 in a high-scoring game against the Titans at Suncorp. And as for the Raiders, beating the West Tigers in their final home game and also claiming their first minor premiership in 35 years back in 1990, winning the 2025 NRL minor premiership. Congratulations to the Raiders. If there's a team for that to win the grand final this year, it's them. Not if it's not Penrith or Melbourne, it's going to be the Raiders. So congrats to the Raiders and only their second minor premiership in their history as well. And now let's go through the team list for both teams. For the Dolphins, Herbie Farnworth closes in on the return from a hamstring injury. He's been named in the extended squad. Could be called in later this week. Kui Fuyaki returns from ankle injury to fill the void by Koinu Leniu. And with the Raiders, they have won the minor premiership. So we will see K.O. Weeks, Jed Stewart, Ethan Strange, Jamal Fogarty, Joe Tarpany, Tom Starling, Simi Sasagani, Josh Pupley, Zach Hosking, and Hudson Young. So that is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players being rested. And well deserved as well. So we see Chevy Stewart fullback, Adam Cook and Ethan Sanders in the halves, and Matty Nicholson in the back row. Utala Asona Muna and bench players Marina Waitia and Joe Roddy will make their NRL debuts in a side captained by Corey Hosbrough. My goodness. So for this game, I will back the Dolphins. I can't really see the Raiders winning this one with the squad that's in this one, but Raiders have earned the right to rest all these players, unlike Penrith last week. That was horrible. So I will back the Dolphins to win this one. I will go Dolphins to win. Let's go 13 plus. I know it's a bit of a risk to take that one. So we'll go the Dolphins to win by 14, 28-14 scoreline. First try scorer, we'll go Trey Fuller. Anytime try scorers, Tabuai Fido, and we'll also go Ethan Sanders to score as well. So Dolphins to win 1-12. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are in our final regular season game of 2025, and it's looking to be a snooze fest. We have from Combank Stadium for a 4:05 kickoff. We have the Parramatta Eels against the Newcastle Knights. Now, last week, the Eels travelled to New Zealand and holding on the Warriors outfit, just winning 26-22 over there at Mount Smart last week. And as for the Knights, they led 10-0 against the Sharks and they get clobbered 40 points to 16. I'm glad this season will be over for them. And they deserve the wooden spoon, honestly. Let's go through the team list for both teams. So just one side for the Eels. Dylan Brown has been called to the starting side at 5'8", in place of John Stamroni, who drops to the reserves. Dylan Brown's last game, the 6th jersey, was in round 9 against Penrith. And for the Knights now, Adam O'Brien in his final game as head coach after making 4 out of 5 finals appearances between 2020 and 2024. He has named the same 17 that lost to the Sharks last week. Fletcher Hunt's been named at fullback, and Dane Gagai in the centre. Well, Jake Arthur is listed at number 6, Finn Crossland at number 9, and Jaden Brayley on the interchange. Need I say more? Parramatta. Despite I don't want Parra to win, obviously, because we want to be in front of them. We'll go Parra to win 1 or 12, though. We'll go Parra to win by 12. First try scorer. Scoreline, I should say. We'll go 26-14. First try scorer, Zach Lomax. Anytime try scorers, Josh Adokar. We'll also go Greg Marshall as well. And Eels to win 1 to 12. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up my round 27 NRL tips of the 2025 season. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here. But don't forget to comment down below in the live chat if you haven't yet. Comment down below your tips there, or comment down in the comment section down below of what your tips are for the final round of round 27. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. Good luck to your tips this week, and good luck to your teams that are making the top 8 or finishing just outside the top 8. And as for the bottom 9 teams, from Tigers, Eels, Rabbitohs, Knights, Cowboys, Dragons, and Titans, sayonara. We'll see you next year. Have fun in Bali, I guess. But bring on Friday night. Bring on the biggest rivalry in the game. And, of course, I will be there. Anyways, guys, see you all in the next one. We will be going to finals tips as well for the remaining of the season as well. So look out for that next Tuesday. Anyways, guys, see you all in the next one.